So here we have Bellbridgeshire, or a town in Bellbridgeshire, which many years ago would have started off from this castle, would have had a town living along here, and before they knew it, they needed more food and more resources, so this lake became used as a fishing area, which over time spanned into what we have today. So if we start off going to the fishing area, excuse the direction. So here we have the fishing area. As you can still see, there is still some fishing going on today, although after a while it turned into an industry area to pass the fish onto the next stage and go through the processes until it became into the factory that we have there today. This is a nice big fish factory, and around here you have all the storage depots for it, and then you get into the normal manufacturing industry and everyday industry that we have in many towns. We have some coal power plants which don't have long left now. They will be removed eventually for something a bit cleaner and easier, and coal is not very reliable on the game, as you seem to struggle for deliveries no matter how many coal I produce. We have a recycling centre here, which is near the data server centre, which gives internet to all the little sims around here. So anyway, moving on. With the rise of the industry, houses were needed, so along the front we have some very tight terraced houses built a long time ago and just maintained. I really like the look of these, with the old-fashioned school here, which is a primary school which has been here for many years. So it looks very British at the moment, with cars parked all over and the terraced houses. I believe we have a pub somewhere as well, which I'm struggling to locate, but you get the message. I like the direction of everything. I like how it's not just gridded and it follows the terrain mostly. The front road has some houses on it, but I didn't want to go too over the top and keep it free for people moving in this direction. You can see the football stadium here, which tries to blend into the terrace look. It's not the biggest stadium, it's not the biggest town, so to me a League 2 stadium would probably suffice. Little corner shop here. And if we go around here, you can see the high street, which would have been a town centre many years ago, before the town expanded. So if you follow it down, you've now got there's a Lidl actually here. Nice supermarket for everyone to get the shopping from, with a nightclub over there and a petrol station. So if we follow this high street parking, and we've got some mixed residential and commercial houses which need reworking on the floor. Doctor's offices here. Got some high-rise buildings, although not the biggest. It's really hard to keep it straight. Some shops and some more mixed residential. So it is sort of a busy area. If you follow it along, you get more commercial, and you get the high school, which serves majority of the town around here. There's only 2 high schools in the area, and this is one of them for the more lower class people, let's say. As them houses got filled and industry started moving in and more shops, the desire for more housing came about, so they kept building along the river with these terraces, and eventually they added in some high rises which are good sized, keep a lot of people in there, and some low rent houses, nice cramped in flats which I wouldn't like to live in myself, but some people have to. Although I do like the area and the look of it now. Some crossings need removing there. Again, I've kept the terrace feel for a bit. It looks like a lot of terrace houses, but a lot of houses were needed and the space was minimal, so they had to make do. And more profit over space. And here we have a little industry area which would have been built mostly because of the farming area and the extra houses around here. So we've got another primary school here for these areas. And they got some more green areas here as well, so we've got our shops here which are high street, little tiny high street, and then a park area goes all the way across just to make it a lot nicer. But these houses are very tightly compact, how a lot of towns would have been. As we expanded more, these became semi-detached and detached houses in nicer areas. A few cul-de-sacs going on, little horseshoe shaped little estates, and it feels like it's a bit more middle class as we go. We've got a petrol station here, another high street. Again, the services have gone since the building's updated, and a pub which for some reasons lost its car park and is now just grass. Again, it's very temperamental, this game, when it wants to be. As we go higher up, we've got a playing field with football pitch, basketball, another little football pitch, and a little tiny gym. This leads higher up, so we'll come back to this later. So as we go across, we've got a load more semi-detached and detached houses, getting away from the terraces which occupied closer to the lake. As we come over here, we have a little busy area of some shops. Again, surfaces have removed themselves, but I'll go back later. Over here we have another high rise, a little park outside, and I believe that's another football pitch, yep. And then we have a college over here with an athletics track, football pitch, tennis court. Bit American, the stands, I know, but let's pretend this is a popular college who plays some good football. And then that's the college. If we zoom out again and get back on track to where we were. Quite like these high rises here with a little park here and car parking. Gives it a bit more life, looks like a busy area. A lot of cars and sirens going off. Again, I need to delete some crosswalks, zebra crossings as we call them. If we zoom out again, the industry area was expanded with some offices. So this is an office area, sort of acts as a buffer between the housing area and the industry to get rid of some noise and pollution. We also have a bus depot somewhere along here as well. And as we go further down, we have a nice little, well, an attempt at a retail area. So we've got some shops here. And then if we turn round, it's not very busy, as you can tell. In fact, I'm shocked if it's open looking at that. Got a McDonald's here, a petrol station, and possibly a little, just a little newsagents type shop. And over here we've got a few more terrace houses, although I would say these are nicer terrace houses than the previous lot. Not just for the working class if we come along here. Then we have some shops again to break it up. Again, another terraced area. It is really hard to control at speed. So here we have the A road, which goes all the way through and separates. I mean, this roundabout is a busy roundabout. Normally you've got one area up there. This will carry on to go right through the middle, which will eventually go to the city. And then this goes to the dock, so it will get busier throughout the day. And then we have the roundabout here, which is the main entrance into the city, well, town in this case, which I quite like. Nice little place for the police to pull over people and pretend they're busy. Again, this road goes straight up to an industrial area, which is the second industrial area, which actually came about because of the rail. So as the rail came into town, you got a cargo station, which is here, which makes it an obvious place to have a lot more industry. And I believe this is another fish factory. so the fish will come up here. I have a sort of an inland fish area here, although I don't really like it. It may go in the future. Along here we have another bus depot because the bus demand is crazy and the buildings don't produce a lot, and there's no buses coming out at the moment. So over here we have the train depot. I've spent a lot of time making it look a bit more busy than it is, and it takes up a lot of space, which I think is needed in times like this. Again, I quite like this area. Then across the way you got these cul-de-sacs and semi-detached and detached housing. Originally this area was shops, but they weren't really getting filled with people, and commercial was struggling for demand, so I changed it to some mostly high-rise buildings and higher residential buildings, and kept a McDonald's and a petrol station, which I like the look of, and a little park here with basketball, tennis, BMX track and a football pitch, and a little play area for the kids. So a lot to do with the people around here. It's not a bad area to live, although quite compact. It does have its own little high street again. I quite like this area. And over here we've got a few more high-rise buildings just to push the population. This is quite close to the town centre now, which would have formed later on in the history. And it's all this side of the railway lines. So if we look here, we've now got the train station, which would have been a big thing in terms of the history of the town. It would have brought in a lot more people and meant that the town centre expanded into what it is today, which is a mixture of different era buildings. These are very American, I know, but I do like them. I prefer these ones, but the colours changes a lot. Every upgrade they'll change what they want to look like, so it's hard to keep them exact. But again, it makes it more real. Buildings don't all look the same, and finding English buildings in this game is very difficult. Nice little park there just for people to chill, let the kids have a bit of time to relax before going shopping again. And over here we've got a more modern sort of retail area. Again, not many people have taken to it though. These are not being bought up yet, except for that one, Capine. No idea what they sell, but they look to be the only company around here. So maybe in the future these will be replaced with high-rise buildings. We'll see. And then we have a Morrison's over here, or a Morrissey's as the game calls it. Nice supermarket, fits in with the area. I believe there's a cinema somewhere as well. And we've got a pedestrian area here to keep the traffic low. Town hall and the market hall there, I believe, as well. It's quite a lot of looks of. And just some nice big commercial buildings and a plaza for people to take a break and relax, unwind. It's a very busy area, as you can tell. Buses all over the place. And again, these were shops, but I decided that having more residents is a better way to go. Commercial is hard to keep demand up, so let's create more people. Nice underground parking there. And we have a school here again. Suits the look of the place and caters to the educational needs. So as we go further up is where the people with more money would have moved up to. They're still close to the town, but away from a lot of the noise and a lot of the main population of the town. I'm trying to remember what this one is. So this is another school by the looks of it. It looks quite messed up now. That needs to be readjusted. I believe I got rid of the fence once, but it's since come back. Little bridge going straight over to gain access. I like how the train track acts as a divide, and it's still easily accessible, so it doesn't really affect it too much. So we're at the edge of the town now. As we lead through, these are the more expensive, bigger houses. Cost more money to live in, so you got to have a better job. But in the same time, you're going to be more willing to travel in your nice cars. These are very nice streets, very clean and tidy. Just follow the main road along, you've still got nice houses, and then you've got a high school just further up. Quite a much nice high school than the last one. Football pitch, tennis courts. See, the posher kids will go up here. And then we have a posher, let's say, supermarket. Woolworths, no idea what that is, but it looks posh, similar to a Waitrose. Petrol station again, and a coffee place. And some more big buildings with commercial, just to get everything you need. And then you've just got more housing around. So that's the main town. Around it you've got your countryside. A little waterworks, which sorts out the sewage and the water treatment. That's a cereal mill, I believe, makes cereal. If we follow it through, we go into the countryside, up the hills, around to the castle. There's a lot of countryside. So here we've got a little area for forestry. Say little, it's quite a big area for forestry. And I believe this is a farming area. Just before the forestry, some houses which would have once upon a time probably worked with the forestry area. Tried to separate the roads. Do like the look of it, not perfect, but it looks good and looks different. Nice little pub there for them as well, the Fox Inn. Quite a steep rise there, but modern day cars have no issue with that. Then this is a forestry area, trees are all lined out, they have cut a lot down. As you can see, the density of it originally has been cut down to a lot less dense, but I guess they're making a lot of money and a lot of wood, which will then be passed down to the paper factory and other places. This is a big hall type building, old fashioned mansion. He would have been the owner of this forestry area many years ago, and now it's more of a place for people to visit, National Trust and all that. So you got a nice mansion which people can walk around. I imagine TV shows and films would have been filmed there. Nice garden for people to relax in and walk around. Tennis courts and a little petting zoo with some cattle and horses around. It would have been a nice place to visit. And again, more forestry. See, I like the forestry, it picks up the wood and produces whatever it wants to produce from it. Again, more houses. I'm trying to think, this is probably a fire station, I believe. Fire seems to be a big problem on this game at times if you don't get enough coverage. And more countryside. A lot of trees, a lot of fields. Pretty similar to how much UK places are from the outside of the towns and cities. Then I've got a little bit here which is a sort of inspiration from Mount Carp, how you can just chill out, park up here like this guy has with his little caravan and just look out amongst the city. It's a very nice view, and as time progresses you'll have even more to look at. There's a little bit of castle ruins on the right, an old tower, and I believe there's also one over there you can just about see, although seeing the castle from here is doable as well actually, right in the far distance over there. You can just watch the farmers go to work, it's a nice spot. Again, more farming, a few fields here for animals, we've got livestock, some sheep, I believe, some cows which really want to go onto the road and disappear. I don't know why they do this, but we'll see. They just have a death wish by the looks of them. And then we got another tractor field, tractors in another yard. More countryside. And different layers to this. What I like is the hills. You can play around with the layers and how high stuff are. And try and work around terrain, makes it a lot more fun and different. This is my nice little area. Again, I'd say richer people live up here. You're away from the town and cities. You've got a bit of land. You've got your lake with your boats. You can imagine people just boating around, and there's some ducks. They're just floating away. So you can watch the ducks from your boat. And again, more farming, more houses, and one day there will be a little nature reserve here with some camping and stuff. I like how I've done my little signs here as well. A lot of time you'll see a lorry just left in a field, normally not that sideways, but what can you do? And then as we get across this bridge here over the highway which will lead to the future city, we come to another little village which probably would have been one of the original villages back in the day where the castle formed. This is a livestock market, so this is where you go to buy livestock. Felt like it was a good place. Meaty Bits own this one. So there's some fields here where the animals will probably graze in the future. Obviously they haven't done so far as it's quite overgrown. And this is some form of livestock building as well. Again, I can't remember which one. Again, it's another big house in the area. So we have the little town centre here with their old-fashioned building which now acts as like a little village centre. Some shops which again have gone look a bit big, but they would have been bigger buildings back in the day, which have just been reused into what they are, a police station, and some more old commercial around the town market. Over weekends I can imagine families will come here, do some shopping, and just have a nice time in the market, visiting the friends and family as well. And this is just a nice little area for old houses, which again I need to get rid of some crosswalks, maybe make some little changes, but I'm like it. It used to be an old farmland until the houses took it off. Another park, and then we have the school up here. And a few more houses, so it's a nice little village. I quite like this view here when you have your tower here with your church and your castle in the background. Really like that. It would have looked good many years ago. So this is our old-fashioned church with a cemetery. Very busy cemetery looking at it. Must be a lot of people wanting to visit. And I like the castle, the little old church looking at the castle. The castle is just the castle at the moment. There's nothing up there with it. One day I might find something that's suitable, but for now it is just a castle on its own that has been left to become a tourist attraction. And we've got an entrance in here to the town from a future town further up, which I won't be showing you today. Then we have another village around here with some farming. I quite like this village when I first did it. Looks like a very busy village, but I enjoy it. Old-fashioned buildings again, old town vibes. A little hotel that came with the game. Cricket pitch again. The village feels really helped with these cricket pitches. Although I'm very tempted to turn this into a lake. We'll see. Church again. Cemetery. Now we zoom out. We now, last thing to show you really would be the area for the gated community. The rich of the rich. So this road basically a highway at this point. It goes all the way to the motorway and to the next town. So it gets very busy, but just here we have our gated community. So as we come up the roundabout, you have your little entrance, people side in and out, make sure they're allowed in, turn around there if they're not, come up, and we have the golf course clubhouse. This is effectively a 9 whole golf course with some houses sprinkled around. Really like the idea when I see them in real life, so I wanted to replicate it. And then a little few shops here just for the people of the gated community, so they don't have to leave and they get everything they need in one go. And obviously solar panels, car parking to help with the energy in the area. So if I can, I'll try and take you through some of the holes. So I think this is the first hole. It all sort of circles round itself. First time ever trying this. I quite like the results. You got your green here with your flag, so you know where to go. Very peaceful course. Quite a difficult course, I'd probably say as well. It's a big, probably a par 5, that one. Bit of flooding here, but yeah, water's such a difficult thing to play with, and I do believe it shouldn't have flooded that. So that's flooded me green, I will have to address that. And then we have the next hole, which is straight across. Again, it's flooded areas again, so I need to try and learn the water aspect of the game. It's very hit and miss. But yeah, so we have some golf courses and a big mansion right at the top, which I do quite a lot of the look of. I think it won't be a bad idea to live up this area, although I'll still say we're too close to your neighbours. Yeah, so that's my community area. Just go over a few little bits slowly, just see if there's anything that stands out and looks good. But next plan is to move over to the other side of the map, where I will have coal and metal ore and rocks being produced and taken out of the ground, extracted. And that's the basis of the next town, which will link to this one before moving on by the sea to make the main city, which will go in this space here. I'm quite looking forward to filling that. That whole area should eventually be one big city, which will dwarf this little town in the end. And then over here we have another little town which I'm working on, which is many little villages and one hub town, and that will provide ore and coal and stone for all the other areas, which eventually will lead down the highway and the train track all the way down here to where the industry area will be and the docking area, and it should make a lot of business and increase population quite a lot. So I quite enjoy where we're at the moment. It's taken a while, a lot of trial and error. I've had a fair few errors as well, problems with the game update, and the PC broke once, but we're slowly getting there. So next time I will go over the ore hub town village, where the coal comes from and all that lovely good stuff. So thank you for watching.